Right, 12 December 2023, and today I continue with my coverage of the critical stories that are taking place in Zimbabwe. And this is going to be my first broadcast for today. It's going to be a quick broadcast. We've got a very important day ahead of us, and specifically, the CCC is going to make an announcement today of what they are going to do about the theft of their MPs last week. And next week, there is going to be a nomination court where the CCC might fail to go in, to put the MPs in under the name CCC. And this is very, very critical. We're going to see a big thing happening. The week is going to be very, very big going into next week and going into Christmas. So today we've got some three important stories that I want to cover. And these are connected to what is happening now. So the first story is obviously that Chief Justice Malaba, and you know that Malaba and ED, they work very, very close together uh, over the election petitions and also in other cases. So, for example, Malaba is the guy who said the coup was legal, the coup that removed Mugabe. So, what has happened, and this is in the newspaper, you can go and have a look there, is that all cases to do with elections are now being heard or being managed by Malaba. So there is a circular that has been put out where all officials in the courts have been instructed that if they're dealing with an election, they should then send that file to Malaba and his office. So you can go and look at the story in the newspaper. This is very, very critical because it means that if Chamisa was to file any election-related case, he would never win. So you remember what I was saying, that Chamisa should not go to the courts. In going forward, there's no reason for Chamisa to go to the courts because there is a circular here from the Judicial Services Commission, which is called Practice Direction number 2 of 2023, Management of Election Matters, which was sent out on 30 November. So you see that this is directly related to the current recalls and the cases. So Chamisa is not going to win anything in the courts. And the sooner he understands that, the better. The sooner he understands that there is nothing that is coming from the courts, the better. So the circular purported that post-election matters arising from declaration of poll results should be finalized within 2 months and not more than 90 days. And upon filing an election matter, a registrar shall immediately and in any event, no later than 24 hours from the time of filing, place the matter before the Chief Justice, Judge President, or Senior Judge, as the case may be, for giving of directions on the management of the matter. So any election-related case is going to go directly to the level that is controlled by ED. So it means Malaba is going to make a phone call to ED and ask, what do we do about this case? Hence, you see the strange things that are happening around the Sengizo Shabangu court cases. This has never been seen anywhere. So if I was Chamisa, I would stay away from the courts. There is nothing happening in the courts. So have a look at that story in the newspaper. These guys are very efficient. I get the newspaper almost midnight the previous day. Now let's go to the second story. The Zimbabwe Lawyers for Human Rights have slammed ED for what he's doing right now, the recalls. And they say that this is disenfranchising voters. So democratic recession is manifesting itself in vote disenfranchisement, voter suppression, and illegal recalls done through the abuse of parliamentary legal processes and privileges, and staging sham elections which fall short of the regional and international standards. So the Zimbabwe Lawyers for Human Rights has done a great job. Most of the people that you know would be in jail right now if these guys have not been in place. And personally, I've received assistance from these guys, ZLHR, Zimbabwe Lawyers for Human Rights, when we had an issue and we had to get someone out of jail. And you know that people like Promise Mkwananzi, even Job Scala, if you look at people like Hopo Chungono, all these people have been helped by the Zimbabwe Lawyers for Human Rights. And they're saying what is happening right now in Zimbabwe is unheard of. It has never been seen anywhere on earth. ED has gone rogue, as I said. And I'm obviously going to give you my view of everything at the end of these three stories. The third story is there's a new railway line between Mutare and Beira. This is critical. I've been to this place over the past few months, to Beira and to Mutare. You can barely pass because of the big number of trucks at Beira, at Forbes border post. Now there is a new railway line which covers 320 kilometers. So if goods are coming into Zimbabwe, they will now use the railway line. The Mozambicans have built the railway lines, not the Zimbabweans. So the Zimbabweans should revive NRZ. That means you will have traffic moving freely and less traffic at the border. But as you know, there is a lot of corruption there around the Feruka oil pipeline. And obviously Tagore is right there in that whole thing. There's nothing in Zimbabwe that happens which doesn't have Tagore inside it. So this is a significant development. I hope that eventually they have a passenger train. Tourism will be big between Beira, where there is a coast and the beach and the port, and Harare. That would be amazing if they were going to have a railway line there. But at the moment, there is a cargo train that has been opened between Beira and, in fact, Machipanda and Beira. Machipanda is just a walk from Zimbabwe. I actually have my grandmother used to live there, so I used to go there quite a lot. So now I want to conclude with what is going to happen today. Nelson Chamisa has an important week. And as I was saying, being a president in Zimbabwe is not a walk in the park. You're not going to walk into the presidency. You have to grab that presidency from ED and take it from his hands. And so right now, ED is proving to Chamisa that you cannot get a presidency just by going to a court, just by talking about dialogue and so forth. There is a lot that needs to be done. And the CCC guys need to understand this. They are standing at the edge of something very important. If they want the international community to help them, they first of all have to sacrifice their seats in parliament, their seats in senate, their seats in council. They cannot be comfortable and do the old politics of waiting for Chamisa. So most people want Chamisa to do something. Now is the time for Wende, Mahere, Chibaya, Ostalos, all these people. They need to do something. And the thing that they need to do is to withdraw. Coltart. I know Coltart is now a mayor. He needs to withdraw. Everyone that you know, if they withdraw, ZANU-PF, it will, and in fact, not ZANU-PF, ED will not be in place within a short space of time. But this needs a united front within the CCC. They will never be able to do it if they're still enjoying what they have now. They have to do the next thing. And this is what we call a moment of truth. A moments like this, many people tend to fold. And I always say this to you. When you see that when there's elections, when there's an important event, I barely sleep. And most people, what they do, they get scared. When there's something important, an important decision to be made, many people get scared. They don't know how to move forward. And that is why most people don't succeed. The moment when you need to do something, that is the moment when you know if you are a leader or not. So this is the moment of testing for Chamisa. Tomorrow, you will know if Chamisa is your president or not. If he is worthy to take that presidency from ED. Because when you remove ED, you are removing a system. And you can't replace a system with an individual. I've said this for the past 3 years. When you remove a system, you replace the system with another system, because you can't run on top of someone else's system. This is where the problem is right now in the Zimbabwe opposition. They're trying to run to replace ED with an individual. But at the moment, Chamisa's idea is correct. What Chamisa wants to do is to remove ED and replace his system with a transitional authority. Remember what is the plan here. So to do that, you first of all have to withdraw from the current system. You can't be in the current system and then have a transitional system. And a transitional system cannot come from permission by ED. So the region, international community must intervene, and they'll only intervene if they see that Chamisa is serious. And the seriousness is to withdraw after the recall of his MPs from everything that ED has got. Right, let's go into the comments. Chamisa must just fight back. Yes, fight back. Get out. Boycott parliament. Boycott Senate. Boycott councils. Do not be part of it at all. This is what you need to do. Manyoni says he must keep going to court to expose Mnangagwa. That is the worst idea I've ever heard, Manyoni. You cannot expose someone that I just told you is now in charge of every court case. Look at the headline here that I've put here. ED takes control of all election cases. What are you exposing? The guy is in charge of everything. So he's in charge of the army, he's in charge of the courts, he's in charge of the police, he's in charge of, now he's in charge of Sengezo. So what do you think you're going to expose? You guys, you make me laugh, especially CC guys, when I talk to them, right? They don't understand how many days I've spent with CCC people, with MDC people, with every political party. There is one thing in common between all the opposition parties that I've spent time with. They do not understand what needs to be done to remove ED. And they do not understand where we are. Where we are, it's a very, very dangerous point in history, where any election that is going to happen now means nothing. Because they will either recall MP or they will rig, and then there will be an international report, and that international report will mean nothing. Look at other countries right now. You go to SADC website now, and you see what is there. DRC has just finished their election. As we speak, Madagascar just finished their election. Right now, South Africa is preparing to go to election. Botswana is preparing. Mozambique, I think they will be having an election very soon. Zimbabwe is the only place where soon after every election, you start preparing for the next election because the last election was rigged. And I mean open rigging, because when the EU, the SADC, the AU say that you rigged, and then nothing happens. And then the guys who were rigged, they just walk to the same parliament and they sit there. And then they get recalled and they go to court, which I told you just now has been put in the hands of ED. Tulari says, let's wait for SADC. SADC cannot do anything if you don't do something. So today is the 12th. SADC must find you with a crisis. You understand? This is the playbook for a presidency that I'm giving you now. SADC must solve something. So SADC mustn't walk and find you sitting in parliament, sitting in Senate, and sitting in councils. They must find things not moving. Because the only way you're going to remove ED, if something is not moving. So if you open a window and the shops are closed, no car is moving, no one is going to work, no one is going to parliament, and there's silence around the whole country, then you solve. Not this thing that is there now. So right now, there's no way that SADC will help you, because they've got a playbook, they've got a resolution. So guys who are in audit, they know what I'm talking about. There's what is called action plan. SADC action plan does not include fixing the recalled MPs. They will fix the process But what you want now is not to fix the process, is to reverse the process of what has happened. So right now, what you need to do, if you're CCC, is to make everything stop totally. So everything must stop. ED is the next step that ED is going to take is going to make you feel very sorry for to be a Zimbabwean. But I think we're done here, and I'll be back later on to talk about the press conference that the CCC is going to hold on whether they've decided to withdraw or not. If the CCC does not withdraw, mark my word, that's the end of Chamisa's political career. You will never hear about Chamisa again. After this, this is the only moment left. It's like the final push of Tsvangirai. If Chamisa does not withdraw from these bodies today, you might just as well start talking about something else because it will be finished. There'll be no future for Chamisa because he needs to put pressure, and this is the pressure we've been talking about, not what is left. And soon after, if they don't withdraw, I've been talking to guys in ED's vicinity, and they were saying these guys are just expecting people to make noise for a few months or a few days or a few weeks, and then everyone will move away and keep quiet. They know Zimbabweans act that way. So they actually don't take this serious. They don't think Chamisa can withdraw because the guys need the job, the guys need the car. In fact, what I've heard is that there's a loan on these cars. So they're saying, we've got all these cars. What are we going to do with our cars? And what I say to the guys is, if ED is out, nothing matters. You get that car for free. Don't worry about the car. Your country will do so well that you'll be able to buy your own car. You won't have to rely on a parliamentary car or a coupon. I've heard people saying we're using our coupons to go to our constituencies and so forth. Those are excuses. Withdraw. You will become a minister in government. You become a director. You become an ambassador. You become something bigger. Not an MP. An MP in Zimbabwe is nothing. Then I wonder saying, where's Chamisa at the moment? My thought is that Chamisa is either been grabbed or they're keeping him in such a state that he can't do anything. This is the theory that I've been advancing for the past few days. If I don't see Chamisa today speaking, it will be confirmed that Chamisa has been grabbed by ZANU guys or by ED's guys. There is no way that anyone whose party has been taken, whose MPs have been decimated, cannot even come out on a video to say, guys, what is happening is not right. So let's watch what is happening very, very carefully. I don't think Chamisa is safe. People have been calling me to say he's safe, but I don't think so. I think something else is going. I don't want Chamisa to be alive. That is what Mukwena is saying. I don't want him to be alive. I want to see him on a stage speaking. That is the only thing that will convince me that Chamisa is okay. If I don't see Chamisa on video speaking, I will not be convinced that is okay. So whatever happens, if you see Chamisa tell him Gambakwe said, the only thing he's going to believe is if he sees Chamisa standing there, laying out his plan and saying, this is what happened, I don't agree with this, this is what we're going to do next. If I don't see that, then there's something else going on, something fishy. Right, I think let's end it here today. In fact, this morning. I'll be back later in the evening. Thank you everyone for watching. Please go and look at the newspapers. There is a story that South African musician Zahara has died, but I've been looking at the mainstream press. I haven't seen it. I don't know if the family is going to announce and then everyone is going to formally put it out there. She had a liver transplant, and I was on a flight with her last year coming from East London. Very popular girl. If you go to the area, she's actually like everyone, when you're driving, they show you this is where she stays. So very sad to see a young person passing. And obviously, the press is a bit slowed down a little bit in Zimbabwe. So we're going to be doing these videos, but in the new year, we need to obviously go to a new level. And I think next week, for the guys in Bulawayo, I'm going to give you an opportunity. There's something that is come up as an opportunity. So we'll see if we can get detail on what you can do to take advantage of those opportunities in Bulawayo. So that is it for today. Thank you very much, everybody, and I will be back before the end of the day to update you on the CCC press conference. Good night.